Dead as a Doornail, Book 6 of the Stan Kraychik Mysteries. Author, Grant Michaels. Publisher, St. Martin's Press, New York. Narrator, Eric Aust. Chapter 2. I considered going to wait at Station D, a precinct station just a few blocks away. I'd be safe there, in case Tim's killer is still hanging around my place, but it would be a pretty stupid killer who did that. Hang around after the deed? So I returned to the site, my real estate, which has now become a possible crime scene, and await the arrival of the police. I huddle in a small service entrance under the front stairs, partly to keep out of the storm, partly to conceal myself, just in case all my lovely logic is faulty. And Tim's killer is still about, after all. That is, if there is a killer. Trouble is, my fresh footprints give away my hiding place. Blow, wind, blow. Cover my tracks. As if to answer my summons, a sudden roar shatters the quiet. The Metropolitan District Commission, staunch guardian of Boston's highways and byways, has sent one of those little toy plows to clear the very sidewalk that runs in front of my urban estate. The streets are impassable, and the MDC is clearing sidewalks. I realize the snow may contain potential evidence. Who knows what molecular secrets can be extracted from a snowflake these days. And I scramble out from my hiding place and try frantically to stop the tractorette. But I'm too late. It churns by, burping and grinding, plowing its particular path to nowhere. So much for evidence. I go stand on the newly cleared sidewalk and watch the mini plow turn the corner onto Tremont Street and disappear. Once again, all is quiet except for the wind and snow. Then, like the forward guard of a cavalry battalion, a behemoth snow plow, a real one, rumbles down the street, clearing the way for the Boston police following close behind it. The squad cars stop in front of my place and the cops emerge. I instantly recognize the tall, virile form of their leader, Lieutenant Branco. "Stan?" he says, obviously recognizing me. "Not the abominable snowman," I reply. Branco's Mediterranean aura deflects the blowing snow as easily as Moses did the Red Sea waters. In fact, the snowy halo around the cop only intensifies his olive-toned skin, his black curly hair, and his steady gray-blue eyes. He asks, "Did you call 911? "Like a good scout," I say. "You guys sure got here fast." "Why didn't you leave your name?" "I did. The dispatcher said the call was anonymous, made from that phone booth on the corner." "Lieutenant, I know better than that." "Never mind," he said brusquely. "What's going on here?" "It's what went on," I say. "There's a body in there." I point to the old house, my old house. Branco orders his crew to take up various positions around the place. Some of the cops file up the outside stairway, guns drawn, and enter my hopeless wreck of a real estate venture. Others head down the side alley and go around to the back. Branco turns to me. "Wait in my car." He points to a snowy white cruiser. I protest. "I want to go inside with the big boys," but Branco says, "This is our work now." "But I found them." "There may be danger in there," he says. "But I was just—" "I said wait out here." The cop's eyes glitter through the snow flying between us, and once again a simple formula defines our roles. The strong, angry man will do his important work and make the world safe for us lesser members of the human race. As Branco turns to go in, I mention the black hair I saw on Tim Shignasi's collar. He says, "We'll take care of it." He goes inside while I'm escorted to his cruiser and thrust into the back seat like a commoner awaiting his grace's return. At least it's warm in there. There's a cop sitting up in front. His eyes study me in the rearview mirror, and I wonder how I landed up in this situation. As usual, it's my own doing. A sudden windfall of money gave me the luxury of choice, or appeared to anyway, and my first act of so-called choice was to embark on a quest to become a full-fledged man. That's a big decision for someone like me, a congenital sissy. At the time, it seemed no more absurd than those people who suddenly become fitness addicts after half a lifetime of idleness. But I did it my way. I decided to become a cop, which is about as manly as you can get, short of the Marines. Thanks to Lieutenant Branco's discreet shepherding, my application bypassed some of the red tape, and I slipped into an anomalous vacancy on the Academy's rolls. Cop school kept me occupied for a while. There were basically two aspects to it: physical training and learning the law. As a rookie, you're expected to embrace the physical part like a religion. Don't think, just do. I painfully discovered that I have most of the same muscles everyone else does. Mine were simply dormant, awaiting revelation. As for learning the law, as long as I could maintain the mask of a hard-nosed cop or a fact-retentive lawyer, it was more like an acting class than serious education. It was almost fun. The big surprise was finding that I possessed an unlikely talent. I am a natural marksman. That's right. I'm good with a gun. That is, once I got past my peculiar first response. See, whenever I hold a heavy hunk of deadly metal in my palm, my stupid dick gets hard. It lasts only a few seconds, but the first time it happened, I was shocked, then embarrassed. Finally, I got used to it. But back at the academy, with all those testosterone-laden cops and cop wannabes around me, concealing my temporary prong, was a daily nuisance. And at that very first session on the firing range, I had problems aiming it too. The gun, I mean. Especially after the training officer saw me holding it in my left hand. He shook his head dismally and muttered, "Fucking southpaw." Still, I tried to be very manly about it, gripping the gun with all my gay and glorious might. But every time I squeezed the trigger as instructed, the gun recoiled violently, flinging my arm into the air. Of course, I kept it all graceful, like a Vegas showgirl in a feathered boa, but I never came close to the target. Finally, countless wasted rounds. Later, the training officer said, "You're too stiff, pal. Loosen up your wrist." And then he flapped his own hairy paw in front of me, a very feigned lip, while he sniggered, "That ought to be easy for you." Well, little did either of us realize the unique preparation all those years of styling, cutting, and curling motions had built into my clever hands and wrists. All I needed was a bit of inspiration. It was Barbara Stanwyck who saved the day, and suddenly I was the reigning sharpshooter of my class. Bing, bing, bing! I could put a bullet anywhere on the target. The fag jokes stopped soon after that. And then some of my toughest colleagues asked me to teach them my soft hand technique. So the tables turned, and real men were imitating me. But inevitably, I got bored with it all, which is the Gemini's bane, and I had to face the truth that a cop's authoritative nature isn't mine. Except maybe for brief episodes and only in high travesty. Without the DNA of a militiaman, could I even write a parking ticket without pangs of conscience? I knew I'd never make it as a cop on the street, so before they gave me the equivalent of a dishonorable discharge, I quit. Technically, it was a leave of absence, but I'm sure Lieutenant Branco still celebrated the event as yet another triumph for machismo. Proof that we sensitive types can never soar to the ecstatic heights of genetic brutality. So, to compensate for my manly failing, I became a property owner in Boston's trendy South End. And this is what I got. I look out the frosty window of the police cruiser to my house. One of the assisting cops is scampering down the snowy stairs. He comes up to the cruiser and opens the front door, says to the other cop, "The lieutenant wants him inside." As he escorts me into my own house, a female officer standing near the front door warns us to be careful, that the place is just about falling down. "Like, I don't know, doll." She points to where Branco is, on the stairway, bent over Tim Shignassi's body. Seeing the cop at work, all my whining about man versus sissies and cops versus men means nothing. Branco surpasses all nonsense. My cop escort takes me over there. On the stairs, just above Tim's body, I see where someone's foot has gone through one of the treads. Probably some big-footed cop. Certainly not Branco. Branco sees me standing in the foot of the stairs. He comes down. His feet make no sound. He can probably walk on water, too. He stomps on the first stair as if to emphasize his already towering height, and then he nods his head up toward Tim's body. Do you know him? I nod. Tim Chignasi. He's my contractor. Branco's eyes flash incredulously. You own this place? It has potential, I say with a shrug, maybe two flip. The cop looks around. Potential sinkhole, he mutters. I figured you more for the condo type. I shrug again and wish I was more butch. I guess you figured wrong, Lieutenant. What were you guys doing here? I don't like this tone. Settling the final plans, I say like a potent property magnate. The house needs a lot of work. Branco's eyes, the crumbling walls, and make a little grunt. Kind of a lousy place to meet, he says. Tim likes to be at the site as much as possible. Even on a day like this? He's eager, I say. He's just starting out. Then I add somberly, was. Branco descends the last step, and a Roman legionnaire stands before me. It's not clear yet whether this is an accident or if he had some help. How well do you know him? Not well. Why? Maybe he did this himself? Suicide, I say. No way. Tim wasn't the suicidal type. I thought you didn't know him well. I didn't, I say. I hardly knew him at all. But you knew him well enough to know he wasn't suicidal. It doesn't take much to figure that out, Lieutenant. Branco studies me in silence. I forgot, he said. You tried being a psychologist, too. That was a long time ago, he says. But you still quit. There's quitting, Lieutenant, and there's knowing when you're not suited for something. There's also working harder when things get rough. The academy was your ideal, not mine. Just drop it, says Branco. How'd you meet this boy? He came into the salon a while back. One of your customers? I cut his hair a couple of times. Then what? Then I got this place and hired him. And, said the cop. It was strictly business, Lieutenant. I sound defensive. You don't think I did this, do you? I know you well enough by now, he says. But this is your... He has a hard time with the word house, he says with a grimace. And you claim this boy was your contractor. He's not a boy, Lieutenant. Maybe not, he says. But there's something you're overlooking, Stan. What's that? Take another look at him. I look up the stairway. Tim's strong young body looks broken, the way it's sprawled there on the stairs. What's your point, Lieutenant? Branco's mouth is tense, his eyes impatient. You're missing the obvious. He has red hair, just like yours. I look back up at Tim, now as if for the first time. Branco's right. Despite the 300 million differences between tough-buffed Timmy and Slavic dumpling me, we share a nearly identical shade of red hair. Same style, too. Too long. So, says the cop, since you're the owner of this property, and since you bear a striking resemblance to the victim, it's possible that someone meant to get you this morning. I didn't think of that. Maybe you should, said Branco. Me? Kinky perms aside and a few off-key colored jobs. What did I ever do that would drive someone to kill me? I ask him what happens now. He starts a litany. Yeah, the medical examiner's on the way, and the lab crew too. The driving's rough, so they'll be... I meant, what about me? Branco says, I can arrange some protection. It's serious, then? Branco shrugs. When he does it, it expresses some mystical, masculine, all-knowing authority. It could be, he says with a cold look in his eyes. I hope that hard gaze is nothing personal, just his way of maintaining the objectivity needed to be a good cop. I ask him, did you see the black hair on Tim's collar? He says, The lab will take care of it, and I think you and I better have a talk in my office. You can wait in the car. How long? As long as it takes me. Can I meet you at the station instead? Branco glares at me. He knows that I know, thanks to my aborted academy training, that without a charge, routine police questioning is voluntary on the subject's part. No matter how suspicious the circumstances, the use of force is a violation of rights. He says, "Why can't you just wait for me, like anyone else?" "I want to see a friend." "Miss Albright," he says. I nod. Branco clenches his jaw. "All right," he says. "Just be careful out there." "You really think someone wants to kill me?" "I don't know," he stamps. "But there's no sense in leaving yourself wide open. I'll get two of my crew to take you where you're going now, then pick you up later, and bring you to the station." "Thanks," I say, but my voice is shaking. Branco said, "I don't need to put the fear of God in you, Stan. Just keep your eyes and ears open." I leave the place, escorted by two officers. In the cruiser, I ask them to take me to Snip's salon on Newbury Street. I see them exchange amused glances up in the front seat. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold: to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides, and in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.